I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you briefly about our work and your efforts towards finding a cure for eosinophilic gastrointestinal disease. If you're here to support CURED financially, be generous. Even the simplest studies that seem like they should take a short amount of time and not involve much work take hundreds of thousands of dollars to complete over many years. So your support is incredibly important, and without it, the work of CURED and the researchers couldn't go forward. If you're here as a patient and have supported the research that we do by participating in research, thank you. We couldn't do our research without you. All of the kids here who participated in research and the families and parents who've helped us, it's unbelievable to us that more than 98% of the patients who come to see us help with our research efforts, and we appreciate it. I was here in Chicago last week for the annual meeting of gastroenterologists, an international meeting of adult and pediatric doctors. During that 5-day meeting, there were 3 major sessions on eosinophilic esophagitis, reporting on the work that's been done in the last year or so on that. 3 or 4 years ago at the same meeting, there were no sessions on eosinophilic esophagitis. So it is now on the radar screen around the world. It's important. We recognize it's important, and all the research that's being done is being put forward toward identifying a cure and making everybody's lives easier if they're affected by eosinophilic esophagitis. So thanks you all for coming, and thanks for your support.
Thank you, Dr. Putnam. And thanks for your attention. We just have a few more things, and then we can get back to enjoying lunch, and you probably want to gamble a little. Dr. Gonsalves is from Northwestern, and I had a chance to meet her just a few minutes ago to talk about it, and I was asking her about adult diagnosis, because I know that's what she specializes in. Wondering as a 37-year-old man if I too could come face to face with something like this, and yes, the answer is yes, and many adults are battling this disease as well. So Dr. Gonsalves.
So thank you all. I wanted to thank Alan and CURED for giving me the opportunity to come and speak to you and give you all an update on what we've been able to do with some of the funds that CURED has raised. Now, my first introduction to CURED was several years ago at a fundraiser like this, where I was asked to speak about eosinophilic disorders in the adult population, because it was thought that this really didn't affect adults, and we found that this is not the case. This is quite common and becoming almost as common as children with this. Adults present a little bit differently. They have difficulty swallowing food, have food caught in their esophagus, and many of them are very impacted, meaning they won't be able to sit at a table like this and listen to this conversation because they're so scared of eating. One thing that came out of the conversation at the last fundraiser was that a lot of funding for research is being cut, a lot of federal funding. And so, especially for junior researchers like myself. So everything that you raised today really has a tremendous impact, as Dr. Putnam was saying, about allowing us to do the studies that we've done. Just a couple of words about what we've been able to do. At Northwestern, we have one of the world's largest numbers of adults with eosinophilic disorders. It was a little bit daunting not having some of the research funding to be able to accomplish some of the things that we wanted to do. But through your generosity, we've been able to hire a research coordinator to help us coordinate some of these studies. We've started some investigation into some of the genetic work behind this disease to try and figure out what's causing this rise in adults. We've been able to look at some novel therapies, meaning looking at dietary changes to try and figure out which food allergies these adults have. And also started to develop something called a outcomes measure, patient-reported outcomes. And we had a meeting, which CURED was at last week at the national meeting with the FDA, and this is a very important area for them, and they were really excited to see that there is a collaborative effort in this area. As Dr. Putnam mentioned, we also presented a lot of our research last week at the national meeting, and it was really well received. I think one of the most exciting things at these sessions was there was so much collaboration with researchers at various centers, and that really needs to continue. Lastly, I really want to say thank you on behalf of our patients. Our patients are wonderful. They are so excited to get involved in studies, and the first thing that they ask us when we come back from meetings is, what have you learned and how can we help? So I really want to thank you on behalf of Dr. O'Harano and myself. And please know that your contribution really is making a difference in helping us achieve our goals, in helping to identify better treatments for eosinophilic disorders, helping to collaborate efforts with other centers such as Cincinnati Children's and elsewhere to hopefully find a cure one day, and in the meantime, improve the quality of life for our patients. So thank you all very much.